So how awesome is this? I really think I'm starting to rub off on my wife. Look what she got in the mail today. Now I just got to talk her into doing her own review video. Hey, what is up internet? This is Kyle with Slapshot Toys doing another issue of the Pull List. Today we're going to be taking a look at 3 comics and our spotlight book. From DC Comics we have Detective Comics 963. Also from DC Comics we have Batman and the Shadow number 5. From Image Comics we have Shirtless Bear Fighter number 3. And our spotlight book of the week, also from Image Comics, Kill or Be Killed Volume 2. First book we are going to take a look at is going to be from DC Comics, and it's Detective 963. This is written by James Tynion IV and Christopher Selba, and art by Carmen Canero. This is the first issue in the brand new Utopia storyline. This is picking up kind of where Victim Syndicate kind of left off. So what we're seeing here is actually our kind of previous events from Spoiler when she left the group back at the end of Victim Syndicate. So it's kind of nice to see where it's filling in the gaps with her, as well as we're getting a little bit of a look into Clayface and why he has joined the team and why Batman is kind of trusting him to be on the side of good. But this is going to be a very interesting arc. Not a whole lot really happens in this book. There is, since it is the first issue, they're just more setting up what's going to happen next. It is awesome to finally get to see Spoiler again after the events of Victim Syndicate. This really fills in a lot of the gaps, letting you know exactly where she's been, who she's working with, kind of what her end goals were, since she did tell Batman at the end of Victim Syndicate what her plans were. It's kind of nice to see how she's kind of made those come to fruition. So I think this is going to be an amazing story arc once it gets going. I think Tynion has just been killing it on Detective Comics. I love the Victim Syndicate storyline, and I loved how it ended, and I couldn't wait for them to get back to that story arc, and here we go with it. So I think this is going to be absolutely phenomenal. The art in this book is just honestly okay. There's nothing wrong with it at all, but there's nothing really that stood out. There's a couple good action sequences, and the ending is pretty predictable, but you start to see where the story is going to go. And like I said, I cannot wait for this. I'm super excited for this book. This is probably one of my favorite, well, between the 2 main Batman books, this one's by far my favorite, and I think this arc will be even better. So next up, we're going to take a look at the collaboration between DC Comics and IDW Publishing. This is Batman in the Shadow number 3. Now this has been a really awesome book. I've loved every single issue. It's got Scott Snyder and Steve Orlando on writing duties and Riley Rossmo on art. So just the creative team is phenomenal, but they've just taken this book to wonderful heights. So basically we're getting this crossover between Batman and the Shadow to get you caught up, and they're trying to hunt down, there's this mysterious lurking murderer villain haunting Gotham City, and it actually turns out to be the Stag, which is one of Shadow's main villains. He then partners up with Joker, and they're trying to find the homeworld of Shambhala. I may be mispronouncing that, sorry if you know and I don't. Sorry, let me know in the comments, yell at me, it's all good. But they're trying to find this home to try to get the powers that the Shadow has for themselves. Now this issue is, like I said, this is 5 out of 6, so we're starting to come to the end, so it's getting a little more action-packed, getting a little bit more towards that kind of big conclusion, if you will. The Stag and the Joker are getting ever so closer to their end goal. Now one thing I've absolutely loved about this whole series is the kind of contrast between the Shadow and the Batman. So basically the Shadow is more than willing to kill, Batman obviously isn't. So you kind of have the 2 moral high grounds. They're both heroes, they're both trying for the same end goal, they just go about 2 different ways of doing it, and this book has really showcased that very, very well. I actually really like the interactions between Joker and the Stag as well. I think that they have just done a fantastic job capturing the feel of both properties and really meshing them really well. The art on this book is phenomenal. I absolutely love it. It has such a kind of gritty pulp, like 40s, 50s feel to it. So you really feel like it really could fit in either the Shadow world. It just is fantastic. I love the Joker designs. It's just a fantastic book. The build-ups have been wonderful. The twists and turns have been fantastic. Everything about this book is just, and the creative team, I mean, it's because of them. I mean, they're all phenomenal creators. So you know it's going to be just a phenomenal book. So if you have any interest in Batman or the Shadow, I highly, 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 highly recommend that you pick up this book. If you can't get the single issues, make sure you go ahead and get the trade, because I'm sure it will be out pretty soon. But this is just one book you cannot miss. This is probably one of my favorite Batman books, favorite Batman miniseries in quite some time. Next up from Image Comics, we're going to take a look at Shirtless Bear Fighter Number 3, written by Jody Lehip and Sebastian Gerner, and sorry if I mispronounced anybody's name on this. Art by Vil Nindril, again, sorry. Color by Mike Spicer. Now, as you can tell by the title, this book is insane. It's completely dumb, it's completely out there, but damn if it's not a freaking fun read. So basically, to kind of get you guys caught up just a little bit, the story starts around a young baby that is left in the woods and found by bears named Shirtless. Yes, Shirtless. So the bears actually end up betraying Shirtless, and he goes on this kind of personal vendetta to rid the world of bears and protect the forest from bears. And it's just, it's ridiculously dumb, but ridiculously awesome. So Shirtless has lived in the forest for years protecting it, and now all of a sudden all these bears are destroying cities, hacking neighborhoods, all sorts of things like that. So the government then enlists the help of Shirtless Bear Fighter. Yes, that is the actual plot to this comic, and it's freaking awesome. And so what we get with this issue is actually, we find out that there's a lot more to it than bears just randomly attacking cities. It's actually this kind of corporate global government conspiracy where they're using the bears and hoping that Shirtless anger and hatred towards his bear kind will help eradicate all bears. And so it's just, oh, I mean, it's just ridiculous. And the humor in this book is phenomenal. There was a couple times where I actually laughed out loud. Issue 2 was a little bit of a letdown. It was still phenomenal, but how great number 1 was, number 2 was just really good, and then this one was right back to greatness. I mean, the humor in this is just fantastic. It's really funny. It's written really well. These are extremely quick reads. The plot is fairly straightforward. I mean, there's a lot of good twists and turns. Like, I didn't see the government conspiracy stuff all coming in this issue at all. But I thought that was just an awesome little twist. And then, I mean, just the gags. Oh, it's just a funny book. The art is fantastic. It's like this very colorful, almost like Saturday morning cartoon type art. And it's just a wonderful book. I'm a huge sucker for extremely just funny, over the top, just very outrageous books. And this one fills every need that I have for those type of books. If you want a book that can just say comics can be a ton of fun and a blast to read, this is definitely your book. Can't recommend it enough. It is a little bit hard to find just because it's Shirtless Bear Fighter and it's not gonna be, you know, most people aren't gonna be looking for a book like this. So I know most of the comic book stores around me only ordered maybe 1 or 2 copies. So it could be a little bit hard to find, but the trade will be out fairly shortly, I would assume in the next 4 or 5 months. So I may already be up on Amazon. I haven't looked, but I know they put up their trades extremely early. So if they do bring out the trade for this, make sure you get it. And if you can find the single issues, make sure you pick those up as well, because oh my gosh, is it amazing. And that brings us to our Spotlight Book of the Week from Image Comics, Kill or Be Killed, Volume 2. Now this is by the amazing crime creative team of Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. This story, to get you kind of caught up since this is Volume 2, centers around a character named Dylan. You're kind of typical depressed, anxiety-filled college student in New York City. One night he decides that he doesn't want to live anymore. He decides to go kill himself, so he's going to throw him off his apartment building. And as Dylan is taking this step off of the ledge, he actually decides that he wants to live, so this demon hears his prayer cry, whatever you want to call it, and comes and saves him. But in return, places a curse on Dylan that he has to kill one evil person a month or else the demon will kill Dylan. So what then follows is Dylan almost becomes this. Now Volume 1 in its own right was absolutely brilliant as it delved into Dylan's struggle to be able to cope with finding someone and killing them. So what we see in Volume 2 is actually taking place several months later. Dylan has several hits or kills underneath his belt, and this volume really looks into Dylan's mindset as it starts to change from someone who didn't really want to kill someone but also didn't want to die, and really forcing themselves into that position to where now Dylan is almost, not, I don't want to say enjoying it, but becoming very cocky, becoming very good into finding out, doing information on who is evil, who his next target should be, and not only that, but just becoming very comfortable in taking them out. Almost getting the mindset of he's doing good, not just the mindset of this is not just for survival because the demon's gonna kill him, but he's almost taking out people that he thinks, you know, really are evil people, and people that he's making the world a better place in a lot of ways. And I just think that was such an interesting just kind of take on this character. How we saw in the first volume, he was just so timid, so scared. And then in this one, he's, I mean, taking on these high profile hits and just, I mean, really, but he's just getting very comfortable, very confident about it. And then as he gets more confident, he starts to make mistakes. And then obviously the NYPD start to pick up on certain traits. Not only that, but he's taking out extremely high profile targets who have some major connections, and those major connections are starting to take notice as well. So what follows is just a very, very tension, very, very high octane, not really action, but there's just so much drama in this book, as basically everything starts to crumble around him. As Dylan really, as he becomes more comfortable, just every situation around him should make him less and less and less comfortable. And it's just a wonderful book. It tells a story that's extremely engaging. It's one of those ones that I couldn't put down. I had to see what happened next. And it's a wonderful take on that Punisher vigilante type character with a unique twist, with the kind of demonic, supernatural twist on it, if you will. I'm super excited to see where this goes. I can't wait for volume 3. I think the way that they left it at the end of the book really leaves it open for a ton of possibilities, and just kind of questioning a lot of things that Dylan's doing, and just kind of what really is going on in his mind and his world right now. And it's just beautifully written. The art is very gritty, but it fits the book wonderfully. It really gives it that sense of kind of, it's, you know, Dylan really isn't the most likable character. Really, no one in this book is. I think the art really shows that with its like real kind of dirty, gritty look. This isn't a beautiful world. This is a very dangerous, very dark, very evil world. And I think the art really just pushes that part of the story even further. And Ed Brubaker's writing is just super on point here. And like I said, every page just pushes your interest, pushes your intrigue even more. And it's wonderfully written. All the secondary characters are given phenomenal stories. You care about them as well. And just this whole world, it just sucks you in and it doesn't let you out. If you're a fan of The Punisher, if you're a fan of great kind of crime stories, I highly, 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 highly recommend this book. I gave it a 10 on Comic Book Roundup. I gave Volume 1 a 9.5. These are extremely cheap on Amazon. I think Volume 1 was like $5. This one I think was 10. So make sure you guys pick up this book if you have any interest in crime stories. Like I said, the Punisher type vigilante stories. I've been reading so much wonderful stuff. I think every video is like, I can't recommend this enough, except for maybe Reborn last week. But everything I've read has been wonderful, and this is just adding to it. Completely different than from the other books I recommended the last couple of videos. But if you like the crime, if you like the Punisher, make sure you pick up Kill or Be Killed Volume 2. That is going to do it for this issue of the Pull List. I want to thank you guys so much for checking out these videos. If you guys have read any of the books that I talked about this week, make sure you guys let me know in the comments what you guys thought of them. If you guys are interested in any of the books that I talked about, make sure you guys let me know that you're picking them up as well. Love to talk comics with you. Love to hear from you guys. If you guys have any sort of recommendation on any sort of spotlight book or even single issues, honestly, let me know. Love to read new things. So let me know in the comments what you guys are reading, what you guys love, and maybe I'll pick it up and do a little review as well. But that is going to do it for me this evening. I want to thank you guys so much again for checking out these videos. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and that's going to be it for me. I'll catch you guys later. See ya.